Nashville Predators prospect Teddy Stiga is a national hockey hero. We're going to tell you more about the gold medal game-winning goal scorer, and we're also going to get you ready for tonight's matchup against the best team in the Central Division, all on today's Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off this Tuesday episode giving a shout out to our Locked On Predators insiders and to our everydayers. We appreciate your support. We love talking Nashville Predators hockey with you. Also want to welcome any first-time listeners to the show. Welcome to the wild season that is the Nashville Predators. I am Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio, and my friends, I have a partner in crime.
You do. I'm Emma Lingen, and I'm the Predators site editor and reporter for the Hockey News.
Well, Emma, on Sunday, the World Juniors wrapped up, and I don't want to brag, but one of the Nashville Predators prospects will go down in the history books of the World Juniors for an amazing overtime game-winning goal. We're going to talk about that big moment on today's show. We're also going to talk about how the other Preds prospects did for their respective countries at the World Juniors. Plus, Nashville missing some players in the lineup tonight. We're going to talk through what that might mean, especially on the blue line, and we're going to preview tonight's matchup against the Winnipeg Jets. Before we dive into all of that, want to let you know that you can enjoy the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you're going to get started with $200 in bonus bets. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Emma, you know that we love the little sprouts. And so World Juniors is always so much fun. Not only are there some Predators prospects that you get to watch and play, but I also love you kind of get to see like, hey, who is going to be available for the draft? And this year, with the way things are going for the Preds, you really want to get a good look because we have the Nashville Predators have about the same odds of making the playoffs as they do of winning the first overall pick in the draft. So it became extra interesting for me. But they wrapped up in dramatic fashion, USA versus Finland in the gold medal match. Former Predators prospect Jesse Kiskinen, who was traded to the Red Wings for Andrew Gibson, got Finland on the board first. He had a really good tournament. USA came back, tied it up. Finland scored real quickly to make it 2-1 at the end of the first. Finland took a 2-goal lead in the second period, but the USA tied it up in the last 30 seconds of the period. Couldn't get anything going in the third period to end the game. So it goes to overtime. And in overtime, the overtime hero, the USA hockey hero we all needed and wanted, Teddy Stiga, baby, scores the breakaway game-winning overtime goal that gave the USA back-to-back gold medals at the World Juniors. Overall, Emma, first of all, what did you think of that play? And overall, what was your takeaway from the World Juniors?
Well, I think, first of all, that play and that player, I think that he is, Teddy Stiga. I remember doing a bunch of research on him during the draft after the Predators selected him. And, one of the things I remember seeing about him the most is that it's like he's got the script of the game already, in his head. It's like he's playing 4 steps ahead of everyone else, and he knows exactly where the play is going to happen, when it's going to happen. He just has this kind of sixth sense, and we saw that on that play, when he scored the overtime game winner. I think it's fun. Only goal he had in the tournament, but I'm sure if you asked him, he's okay with that. I'm pretty sure that's, if you're going to get one goal, that's the one to get. So yeah, just really, really impressed with him and with the U.S. in general. The biggest story, of course, I think a big part of it has to do with the fact that it happened. The tournament was played in Canada this year, but I feel like the biggest storyline, even though they were out in the quarterfinal, was still Canada. And, that was the story, is that really going all the way back to their selection process and the players who were and were not even invited to selection camp. And so I think that, going back to it, it was sort of a flawed process from the beginning for Canada. And, we saw, the one highlight for Predators fans is that Tanner Molendyk and Andrew Gibson played on that top pairing together, that top defensive pairing for Canada. So little glimpse into the future for the Predators, maybe. But you mentioned the gold medal game obviously went to overtime. But can we talk about the bronze medal game for a second? Because it was Sweden versus Czechia. Obviously, both teams had Predators prospects, but Sweden especially stacked with Preds prospects. That game went to overtime, and then it went to a 14-round shootout.
Insane.
The longest shootout in tournament history. Czechia ends up winning with finally in the 14th round of the shootout. And so but I think that that's just what you want in a best on best. There's been already conversation about, do we need to amend the rules for the tournament? Should we change the overtime format so this doesn't happen again? I'm like, well, first of all, if you don't want it to happen again, then maybe like someone should score in the first like 10 rounds of the shootout.
I'm just saying.
But also, why wouldn't you want it to happen? It's exciting. Shootouts are exciting, and you kind of want to see that. And I would say the fact that this was the longest in tournament history would indicate that it's not like a serial problem. So I think
true.
I don't know. I think it was,
don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So I think, it was an exciting tournament. I know a lot of Canadians would not agree with me, but first of all, I just want to say, this is my kind of overall take on the World Juniors. It's like, they are just kids.
They are babies.
They are just young sprouts. So can we not, like, with whoever threw their jersey on the ice after Canada lost in the quarterfinal, it's like, I understand you're upset, but like, can we maybe direct that? First of all, let's just like reevaluate our life choices first, and then can we maybe direct that where it belongs? And that would be on the the management, the higher ups at Hockey Canada. And just so we know, just so everyone's aware and keeping track, sadly, I guess sadly, this would not be the most embarrassing thing to happen to Hockey Canada in 2025, what is already a very young year, because there's a trial coming up in April. So very important trial beginning in April for the sexual assault allegations against members of the 2018 World Junior team for Hockey Canada. So if you thought Canada losing in the quarterfinal for the second year in a row was bad, just wait.
Save your jersey for something where it needs to be thrown. Also, maybe get a therapist.
Exactly.
Joey Willis, of course, also won a gold medal. He is a Predators prospect, 2023 4th-round pick for Nashville. He was the extra forward for USA, so he only played in 2 games in the tournament, but he had 2 assists. He's had a killer year in the OHL as well. Coming up, we are going to talk about how the other Preds prospects did in the tournament, and then we got to talk about what's going on right now because, friends, we got some injuries. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Emma, not just USA represented the Nashville Predators there. You mentioned earlier Sweden had a slew of Preds prospects. Viggo Gustafsson, David Edstrom, who the Predators got in that Yaroslav Askarov trade. Felix Nilsson also played for them. 7 games played. All 3 of them played in 7 games. Viggo Gustafsson, defenseman, who, take a moment, compares himself to Matthias Ekholm. Love him. Defensive defenseman. He had 3 assists. David Edstrom. This was kind of our first big look at David Edstrom that came from San Jose in the Askarov trade. I liked it. 4 goals, 6 points in his 7 games. Really fun player to watch. Felix Nilsson had a goal and 6 points in his game. He was a second-round pick in 2023. And then you mentioned earlier a little maybe hockey foreshadowing with Tanner Molendyk and Andrew Gibson. I mean, amazing. Love seeing the 2 of them play together. It's fun to see Predators prospects play in situations like this when you see them play together and you know that there's a good chance that could be what we see in Nashville down the road. I loved seeing them play together. Hate the way things ended for Andrew Gibson. He got a late penalty in the quarterfinals that ended up resulting in the game-winning power play goal. Not happy about that. But yeah, I loved seeing Molendyk and Gibson there too. And then, like you mentioned, Czechia, Jakub Malota was a goaltender. I don't know that he dressed for any of the games.
I don't believe he did.
But comes home with a bronze medal. So yeah, it was a good tournament for Nashville Predators fans. And it's one of those tournaments I just think is really great for people to look at because, again, some of the names we heard, Team USA, James Hoggins, there's some players there that you're like, could Nashville maybe pick up one of these guys in the draft at the rate things are going? odds are just as good as not.
Yep. No, I think it's exciting, I think, for American hockey as a whole too. I mean, I think that there's in the past, obviously, it's been kind of like Canada and everyone else. And so I think, you would get like the US, for example, might be known for being deeper at a specific position, like goaltending, for example. It's like, okay, US has the edge in goaltending, but it's Canada all the way for everyone else.
Yeah.
Or for everything else. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of a shift where, US hockey, the standard has been raised here. And I think that, that speaks to the caliber of the national team development program and the growth of youth hockey around the country, because now you're not just seeing kids coming from the same states and same areas anymore too. And so you're seeing high level American players actually, doing really well in these tournaments. And these are the guys you mentioned. James Higgins, he's an American. He's projected to go number 1 overall. So it's an exciting time for US hockey. So exciting time to get into it, I think.
Yeah, it was a great tournament. We talked about Gibson and Molendyk on the blue line. That's down the road a ways, but we have to talk about what's happening tonight on the blue line, Emma, because it's a whole thing, y'all. Nashville Predators have recalled Kevin Gravel from Milwaukee. Jeremy Lauzon is on IR. Adam Wilsby is on IR. Of course, Kevin Gravel, he's returning to Nashville, played 3 games in mid-December for the Predators. So what we have blue line lineup, we've got Yossi, Shea, Shen, Stasny, Blankenberg, Gravel, and Barron. Emma, who's the odd man out and why? I bet we agree on this.
Well, I do believe that the odd man out is our new friend, Justin Barron, because it's been interesting. It's been an issue because the Predators, we've acknowledged this, are very deep at defense into their farm system as well. However, they're especially deep on the left side, not so much on the right side. And so, of course, you've got a Roman Josi, thankfully, who doesn't really play a side. I mean, left is his dominant side, but he can play right. So I assume that is what will happen, is that he'll shift to the right for against Winnipeg because Kevin Gravel comes in. He's a left-handed defenseman. Jeremy Lauzon and Wilsby, who, as you mentioned, are both on IR, both left shot defensemen. We have seen promising, it won't matter tonight, but promising for the future that Wilsby has shown a little bit of a Yossi-esque ability to play both sides. So that is promising. Doesn't help us now, though. So I think, Justin Barron's been interesting because he is, I thought he actually looked pretty good in his first game with Nashville. And then ever since, it's kind of been like a little tough to watch. And so I just think that, Gravel is one of those guys that he's a journeyman. He's been around for a while. He comes into the lineup. He brings you that size that you need, that Jeremy Lauzon brought and now you don't have. And so Kevin Gravel has the size, he's got the experience, you know what you're going to get from him when he comes into the lineup. And so I think you mentioned Stastny and Schenn make a really good pair.
Love that pair.
Pairing. Yep. Shea and Blankenberg have been really good together, so I don't see them getting split up either. So it's really, I think the top pair is where we're going to see the change, where it's going to be Yossi moving to the right, and then I would assume Gravel slots in on the left side with him. So, I mean, it may be some changes in the order there. I don't know, but if I had to guess, I think I would say that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah. And it's so frustrating to see Wilsby out because so much potential there. And you want to kind of see him be able to build momentum in the NHL. He and Jeremy Lauzon are projected to be back around January 11th. Of course, that just ebbs and flows. You don't really know for sure what that is. But, Stastny's got now a couple games under his belt. I think Sir Blankenberg, extremely comfortable in the NHL. Like you said, Kevin Gravel he's like the defensive Mark Jankowski. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just trust him. You're not necessarily going to get shock and awe, but you trust him. And so I agree with you.
He's not going to be making the highlight reel plays. He's not going to be out there doing everything, but it's like you can put him in and you know what you're going to get and you feel comfortable putting him in there. So I think that's probably what we'll see.
And I do think Andrew Burnett likes his comfort. I do think Andrew Burnett likes comfort when it comes to the lineup. Of course, Tommy Novak missed the last game. He is been listed as day-to-day, no update as of time of recording on his status. Cole Smith out on IR. Can we just take a moment and talk about the fact that if you are all like, why is Cole Smith in the lineup? Look at the penalty kill. Look at the penalty kill. The best in the league penalty kill is now third behind the Stars and Hurricanes. Don't underestimate what Cole Smith does on the penalty kill and also on that fourth line. Now, I will say this. Ozzy Weisblatt, our pretend brother, very good, I thought, coming in and kind of filling that physicality role that you like to get from Cole Smith in that line. Also, Fedor Svechkov. I mean, stop being good at hockey and being adorable at the same time. It's almost too much. It's too much.
With the penalty kill too, obviously Cole Smith was kind of the first domino to fall there. But you're missing, well, actually, Alex Carrier as well, because he got traded. He was a big penalty killer. But now, in addition to Smith, you're also missing Lauzon. He's one of your big penalty killers. Zach LaRue had been on the penalty kill and doing very well, I might add. Now, obviously, he's serving. He's got that one more game in his suspension, and then he's eligible to come back January 11th when they're at home against the Capitals, but he's going to be out, so he was a penalty killer. And so, it's been kind of a revolving door, a rotating cast of characters on that penalty kill. So I think definitely expect it to maybe, take a hit. They weren't going to stay in first forever, but it's still like, it's good to know that you have those pieces there that can, kind of plug and play when you need them. But it will be really, really good to get guys like Cole Smith back in the lineup, because you've got Michael McCarron has been out there killing penalties, and that's not usually his game. So I think it'll be good. You've got, I don't even know who's on the penalty kill anymore.
Luke Schenn. We can always count on Luke Schenn. Like
Michael McCarron, Gus Nyquist, I think, is
Yeah.
killing penalties now.
Ryan
Like,
O'Reilly's out there, the man of all trades. Like
Colton
Ryan
Sissons.
O'Reilly would be the guy where like if like Soros's skate blade broke, he'd be like, I'll put that in. Like he is the equipment manager, he is the skate sharpener, he's the
Well, he
you need
would.
me on the penalty kill.
I thought you were gonna say like he would go be the goalie while
Oh, he would.
Saros got his skate fixed. Yeah, he would do that.
100%. Like
And
there's
then
nothing Ryan O'Reilly won't do.
and then he would blame himself afterwards for letting a goal in, or even if he doesn't let a goal in, be like, "Ooh, that was too close."
I made
could've-
people nervous. I
could've
was
done better.
waiting after his hat trick for him to say in the post game, I could have scored 4. I should have
Yeah.
scored 4.
Yeah, it shouldn't have taken till that empty netter. I should have done it
I should
earlier.
have had it earlier. I should have had it. Man, he needs to sit back down with life coach Kevin Lankinen. Get him straightened out. You know, coming up, Nashville's going to have to get these Ducks in a row in the lineup. Again, facing the Winnipeg Jets tonight, one of the best teams, most complete teams in the entire league. We're going to give you our keys to the game coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. If saving money and getting your finances in order is one of your New Year's resolutions, I want to encourage you to check out Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. One of those great features is that subscription tracker. We've all signed up for subscriptions and then forgotten about them, but Rocket Money tracks those down so you can see exactly where your money may be going. Plus, with their goals feature, you're able to automatically set aside money for the future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, Emma, Nashville back at it tonight against, this will be fun, the Winnipeg Jets. Now, here's what I will say. So far, they have split this duo. The Predators won November 23rd. It was a 4-1 win. Winnipeg was in it. It was tied up in the second until Winnipeg wasn't in it in the third. Nashville lost December 30th, 3-0. Nashville was in it until they weren't in it in the third period. So these games have been tricky because the scores haven't necessarily reflected what we've seen on the ice. When you look at this game, Emma, what stands out to you as being one of the big factors that decides how these games go?
Special teams.
Come on, girl.
I mean, you talked about how Nashville was in it till they weren't in the last game against Winnipeg. You know why they weren't? Because of special teams. And that was, again, we just talked about the penalty kill and the issues that they were having there. I mean, I think that game alone probably is what knocked them from first place to third place. Like, I think they gave up
single-handedly.
I think they gave up like 3 power, or no, maybe that was Minnesota.
2 of 5. I think they went 2 of 5 against the Jets.
It was not good. No. And so I think that, that, and then also on the power play, when they can get on the power play. But hey, let's start with maybe not taking so many penalties.
Come on, y'all.
Just a thought.
Just stay out of. There are no snacks in the sin bin. I swear, if they ever win a Stanley Cup, that will be my next tattoo. There are no snacks in the sin bin. Yeah, I absolutely agree. 5-on-5, I think Nashville has done pretty well against Winnipeg. They haven't done pretty well in every game, but they've done fairly well against Winnipeg. But man, special teams can be a killer. The other thing, anytime these two teams meet, it is just chef's kiss goaltending. You know, and I'm expecting likely we will see UC Saros versus Connor Hellebuck. That tends to be kind of the marquee matchup. And even if you are not a Nashville Predators fan or a Winnipeg Jets fan, this is a game you want to watch for goaltending because they are two very different goaltenders who both are game stealers for their team. And so I love this matchup, even though Winnipeg, seriously, they were not even supposed to be good. Like, and then when they were good to start, we were all like, yeah, but it's Winnipeg and they're not going to be good for long. And here we are just looking up at them as they lead the Central Division and the NHL in points. So for me, I think goaltending is going to be huge in this too. It's just what you want to watch from a hockey game, just high caliber goaltending. And I think it's been good for UC Saros to have Justus Annunen come in and kind of carry momentum in net for this team. But I do think, we'll see Saros and this is going to be good. Like, it's just going to be good goaltending.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, we had good goaltending in the last game against Winnipeg from Saros. I mean, again, he was keeping Winnipeg out of it until, the Predators kind of dug their own grave with the special teams in the third period. So I think that, it's almost a benefit. It's almost like a playoff series in a way, like getting to face an opponent so soon after you just face them. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing, a bad thing, but I would imagine that it's kind of a good thing. You're fresh and you're, you just saw these guys, you don't need that much of a memory jog there. So, hopefully that will work in Nashville's favor, but we'll just have to see. But it'll be interesting.
It'll be a game, y'all. For me, I really too, and I think we saw this a lot in the back-to-back. Your best players just have to be your best players. This is, when you're going to face Winnipeg, when they're playing the way Winnipeg is playing right now with, so much going for that team, Josi, Stamkos, Marchessault, Forsberg, y'all have to have a good game. This is not, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but this is likely not a game that Fedor Svechkov and Luke Evangelista are going to win for the Nashville Predators. And I'm not saying they can't score a goal, but I'm just saying if you want to play well against one of the best teams out there, you've got to have those guys going. So for me, it's, best players, please be our best players. And we've seen them do some pretty good things lately. So maybe it's really hard to say.
Maybe Philip Forsberg breaks his career-long goal-scoring drought. I think we're at 18 games.
Let it rain, baby. Let it rain, Philip Forsberg.
Like, you know what? I love it. He is being selfless, and that is, to the benefit of guys like Stamkos and Marchessault. And we love that he's still contributing, but you're kind of the guy that we need to be scoring goals. He's not even in double digits yet, y'all. We're halfway through the season and he has 9 goals.
It's insane. The other thing too, it's not even just the goal scoring. I feel like we're not seeing him do quite as many Philip Forsberg things with the puck. Part of that is because he is dishing the puck. I mean, he is racking up assists, but we just haven't seen him do some things when he's had the puck. And so, Philip Forsberg, we are ready to be wowed by you. Not that we're ripping on him because, again, he's contributing, but we'd really love to cheer for a Forsberg goal. We want to talk about that on tomorrow's show.
Yes.
We're just asking.
Please.
Just asking. On tomorrow's show, of course, we are going to recap everything that happens tonight in this Winnipeg Jets game. We're going to recap it with our one word to describe the game. We're going to talk about what went well, what didn't go well, and where the Nashville Predators go from here. They're coming off of that back-to-back 2 wins in a row. I don't even know what will happen if they get 3 wins in a row, Emma. It's like Christmas all over again.
Start planning the Stanley Cup parade, everybody. That's
Let's go. Somebody book you too for June. Absolutely.
Minka's excited. She's
Absolutely.
Like, heck yes.
We would have to get Minka like a little mini Stanley Cup.
Oh,
like a little miniature Stanley Cup. Or we could get her a Stanley Cup collar. She would wear that, even though the former Stanley Cup winners aren't wearing their rings. That's a whole thing. But anyway, We'll tackle that on another show as well. Before we log off today, Emma, where can everyone find you and your work?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Emma_Lingen. You can also find Minka featured there frequently. And you can find my work online at the Hockey News.
And you can find me on social media at ANK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio as well. That is going to do it for this Tuesday episode of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for joining us and making us your first listen of the day. We're going to be back tomorrow with this Winnipeg Jets Nashville Predators game recap. We'll see you then.